we are live at 5, a little bit late as usual. Let me just straighten that camera. That is it. Okay, welcome to Roberts & Co. We're live at 5. I think I need to get a slightly better live streaming setup. Anyway, this is going to be a live jewelry making session. It's gone 5 so we can have a beer and a Strella. It's still quite warm here in London. We're on a busy street in South East London, so I need to get the YouTube copyright tunes playing, just in case the restaurant decides to play. They have a habit, when it's someone's birthday, they go all in with Stevie Wonder. They don't just sing happy birthday down there. And that has got copyright strike all over it. But that does tend to be a lot later at night, you know, when you're trying to go to bed. Wake all the neighbours up. Turkish rendition of Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday. Anyway, this might seem like deja vu. This is not the same video as yesterday. This is a new video where we're doing the same thing. We're making gold rings. I said the same thing. Make what people are buying, and they all keep buying exactly the same thing. Old school pint glass here. It's full to the brim. I think they put too much beer in that bottle. All right, cheers. Strella, old school pint glass. So yeah, the windows are open, it's quite warm. Double-decker buses, taxis, people doing U-turns, everyone's smashing the horn at them. All that good stuff. Well, that's pretty quiet out there right now. But yeah, we need to make 1mm gold rings, stackers, more of them. I made 2 size P's yesterday, they've gone already, but I'm not going to make those. Hopefully, well no, whatever I sell out of, that's what we sell the most of, so I do need to make those, but I also, before I make those, I need to make a Q, a W and a Z. So a Q, 61mm, this is 1mm 9ct yellow gold wire that we make in-house. You can actually see me make this if you watch the video about graphite ingot moulds on this channel. This is that ingot. Right, 61mm. I've actually noticed today an increase in people driving classic cars, vintage cars out there. They're actually pretty quiet. You'd think they'd be noisier, but it's actually, they're not actually. But I think it's because there's a date, the ULET there. I don't think you have to pay the daily charge for the low emissions zone, which we're in. But they've put ethanol in the fuel, so they're just going to, don't you worry, they're going to get your classic car. Unless you buy the proper old school fuel online in big, you know, containers, but they're not. They're going to Tesco's and buying cheap fuel and destroying the engine of their classic. They've thought of everything. Yeah, I saw an old MG out there earlier. Haven't seen one in for years. It's like one of the original roadsters. spoked wire wheels, and it was not in show condition. It looked to be in dodging the £12.50 charge condition. Oh, I saw as well, yesterday there was one of the original Fiat 500s, the little tiny red one was out there. Look, well, people would stop and take photos of that. You don't see them so much anymore, you see them loads. You forget how small they were. Right, let's flux that. For those of you that are not from London or from other parts of, or for other countries, probably haven't got a clue what I'm on about. But London is one of the whatever country you're in, you'll invariably have one of the cities that I think they're called C40 cities. It's not a conspiracy theory. They've got their own website, and our mayor is the current, I think is currently the chair of the C4 of all the global C40 cities. But anyway, they are transitioning the cities over quite a long period of time. This started a long time ago, and it's an ongoing thing, that they're transitioning the cities to zero emissions in every aspect, and transportation is just one of them. And we've just had a major change, which was just the start. Well, it's not the start, it's a step, but a lot of cars have just been hit with a daily toll. But yeah, it's all based on it's based on emissions, and basically transitioning the public and public transport, everything, like housing. You'd have to look at the website. It's all encompassing, but transportation is because a major step was implemented recently. That's what everyone's up in arms about at the moment. Well, not everyone, but all of the people it's negatively impacted are. But yeah, there was exemptions, and one of them was classic cars. So people are making the most of that if they can. Right, where was that? Q in W67mm. But yeah, it's not. London is one of these C40, although there's more than 40 cities. I don't really. But then a lot of other cities are doing it anyway as well. So they say it's only according to that organisation, it's only London in the UK, but it's clearly not. But maybe the other cities like Cambridge and Birmingham, there must be similar things happening in Scotland. But I don't know what the umbrella organisation is for those. But yeah, they've moved the goalposts anyway, because London was supposed to be net zero. Well, no, not just London. There's like 36, 46, 30, I think it is the 40 or the 36 cities are supposed to be, we're supposed to be not just ultra low, but zero emissions by 2025. But I think they've just extended. They're not tone deaf. They can see how much resistance there is, and yeah, they've rolled it back to 2030. (2040) for they call it inner London, but what they mean is the whole thing. But yeah, the rights and wrongs. I'm not saying the rights and wrongs of it and the rationale behind it is. As far as this business is concerned, is not really here. It's not. It's not really a discussion. We need to figure out what they're implementing and sadly, how we fall in line, you know, how we implement what, how we, you know, I don't want to say work around, but work within the scope of whatever it is they're going to do, whether we like it or not. But if you click on the transportation page of that website, you will see why Roberts & Co. now has a bike brand called Roberts Customs. There's one thing that is very clear, not just here in the UK but worldwide, is that the general public are far too divided to do anything about it. And that's by design. Too busy arguing amongst themselves. About all sorts of weird stuff that they've watched on daytime television or read on Facebook. Divide and conquer. And yeah, we're currently being conquered. I realised that a while ago. Right. Z, sine X, Y, Z, 72 mil. That solder joint on that one did not work out particularly well. That might need redoing. But yeah, we've gone from classic cars and to zero emissions, but effectively over the next few years, if you want to run a business of any kind in London, it appears, whether we like it or not, regardless of who we vote for, we are being compelled one way or another to run a net zero business, which you can see the big companies, which I think is what they mean by public consultation. They get them ready first. They're all gearing up for it. So if the small companies like these ones, like ours, don't kind of notice what's going on or bury your head, it can be disastrous. I mean, there are, albeit a small number of people that kind of buried their heads one way or another in the sand about the ULEZ charging, and they've got vans that they need to use for work every day, and they can't afford to replace the vans, and they can't afford to pay the daily charges. So that is going to end in tears. But it's not just transportation. You've got to keep your eyes on all of it. But I noticed months ago that I was getting deliveries by DHL. I think it was DHL. And they were coming from Birmingham. And they were actually sending me an email afterwards about once it was delivered, the part of the delivery notification was saying this has been delivered with 0 emissions. Whether it was because they were using whatever vehicles, they've already got a fleet of vehicles that are compliant. And I guess they've obviously already got some sort of a offsetting setup for their non-compliant stuff. And I know a lot of people will say, what I've heard a lot of people saying at the moment is the whole thing makes no sense. And if you try and wrap your head around it, obviously it doesn't, but then, you know, if you try and wrap your head around the banking system, the political system, none of it makes any sense. But it's a game you've got to play. The tax system, the legal system, you know. You just got to know the rules of the game, or you're going to lose. And yeah, there's a new game in town called Net Zero. Right, that's the Z. That W was a bit dodgy. Might have to be redone. Have a look at it. But on a positive note, it's cool to see all these classic cars. And I suppose, I think it's I don't quote me on this, I think it's about 40 years old or something like that. So, you know, there's the one, I think the MG I saw was late 70s. Possibly very early 80s, so it might have just scraped through. I mean, it's not going to last. As a daily driver, with the current fuels that you can buy in our petrol garages, it's not got. Although it's made it this far, but it's only got a few winters in that rust bucket. Some of the old Land Rover Defenders and stuff like that would be cool to smoke around in, quite literally. we're going to end up in a city where everyone's driving a classic. Like we'll be in a net zero city where everyone's driving the most polluting classic cars. Everyone out in the sticks will be zooming around in Teslas, and we'll all be driving these battered old classics. Well, we already are. It's going to look like the late 1970s out there once everyone cottons on. Although once everyone cottons on, that loophole's gone. Well, I suppose it's no coincidence they brought in the e-fuels before they brought in the classic exemptions. Probably hoping to finish them off. Right, actually, it wasn't too bad. The solder joint on that W, I think it was just, I thought it was, I thought it hadn't sold properly, but I think it was actually just, it must have just been flux. Build up a flux, or a weird line of flux around the joint. Right, that is our size W. We're a little bit under, but all of these go on the ring stretcher regardless. You can see they're not perfectly flat once they're made. The ring reducer makes them perfectly flat. It'll just go down a touch of a size and then back up. It makes them perfectly round, perfectly flat. Unlike the rings on it. So I'll give Etsy a hard time, but you can find some cool stuff on there. You can also find some utter junk, you know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I've bought quite a lot of cool stuff on there, I must admit. Bought some good jewellery tools on there from India. I bought some really good jump ring mandrels on there, which I would make a video about, but they were made by a lady engineer in Russia. The Russian women are clearly built different to the ones here. So yeah, she was making these really cool sets of jump ring mandrels and 0.1mm inquiries. I've got one. I don't think they were particularly expensive, better than anything else available, but she's currently sanctioned. Well, not her personally, but they, Etsy being an American company, shut down all the Russian sellers. But maybe when that situation changes, if it ever does, they'll be allowed back. Or I'm sure she'll find a route to market elsewhere. You might find that once all those restrictions are lifted, that there's, I mean, you might not, but I would imagine that there are probably people over there making Russian equivalents. You might find that when they are eventually lifted, we end up with a whole load of Russian tech platforms, like copies of, I mean, they've copied all the restaurants and the clothing brands, and they've just moved in, so I'm guessing someone's copying the tech platforms, and then they will ultimately be unleashed, or well, unrestricted. I'm guessing. Okay, the cue is bang on. Perfect size cue. Although that will still go on the ring stretcher reducer, up a bit, down a bit, make it flat and perfectly round. So that is the cue. Let's take a look at the Z. I think I've used enough words in this live stream to get us sanctioned by the YouTubes, eh? Right, that needs longer in the pickle. It's a really stubborn bit of flux there. It hasn't had long enough to come off. See that there? It's actually right on the joint, which is like glass. So the file is not touching it. If you persevered with a coarse enough file, you get it off, but it's easy just to let it sit in the pickle for a bit longer and it will just melt away. It's alright. I think we'll call that a day. A 30-minute long day. We made 3 rings. What did we make there? A Q, W, and the Z's in the pickle. Straighten those out on the ring stretcher reducer. Get the perfect size. Polish them, and they're good to go. I already need to make more of the ones that we made yesterday, so I might do that tomorrow. So, thanks for watching, guys, and shout out to Estrella, not sponsored, unfortunately. We're always looking for brand partners, especially beer and whiskey. And I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.